Good evening, this is Capital News for Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. I'm Ivor Wharton, and here are the stories we're tracking this evening. Opposition renews calls for Ejil and Indar removal over MV Barema tragedy and model communities consultation in Region 3. We will return with the news.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026, and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone whom you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Friday, July 17, 2026. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Thanks for staying with us on Capital News. Opposition renews calls for Ejil Indar removal over the MV Barema tragedy. Here is that report. Opposition parties are continuing to call for the removal of government ministers Juan Ejil and Deirat Indar over the MV Barema tragedy, in which 73 persons lost their lives and 30 others remain unaccounted for. Leaders of the combined opposition and their supporters converged on the Watuka Guest House in Linden, where Vice President Barry Jagdeo was leading a government outreach. Apart from being Vice President, Jagdeo is also leader of the ruling People's Progressive Party and leader of the party's list of candidates. Amid efforts by members of the Guyana Police Force to move the opposition leaders and their supporters from the compound, opposition leader Asruddin Mohammed said the Air Fanali-led government will be met with protest wherever it goes.
1 year after the elections, 1 year after. So we will not sit back and allow Jagdeo and Air Fanali to ride us. We will not sit back. They will be met with protests wherever they go. Everywhere. They will be met with protests wherever they go. We are here peacefully, sir. Jagdeo did the same thing when he was in opposition. He operated worse. Like real tough. We are here peacefully.
Former Mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj Narain, who was among the demonstrators, said the two ministers should resign their positions.
Everyone who on the international platform and speak about democracy in this country, he should be ashamed of himself. His entire government should be ashamed. And on top of that, you got two ministers who are responsible for policies and system in the maritime and blame three innocent staff. Is that justice?
Murder.
Is that justice? Everyone should be ashamed of himself. Jagdeo should be ashamed of himself. Ejil and Indar should resign immediately from this government. Blood is on their hand. Blood is in the Irfan administration.
Member of Parliament Psycho Andrews said the opposition is calling on the Vice President to explain why Public Works Minister Juan Ejil is not stepping aside to facilitate the investigation.
Here to express our dissatisfaction with a number of things, especially the fact that a minister who is responsible for transporting harbors thinks that he is above the law and above the people, that he cannot even step back to allow for independent investigation. All we are asking the Vice President to do, all we are asking the Vice President to do is to stand up on this step and let us ask him a question. One question we have to ask. Who is Minister Ejil that he cannot resign and give the Armenian people and the people of this country the satisfaction?
Leader of a Partnership for National Unity and the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, said the government has not been responsive to the concerns of the people.
As a consequence of surrounding people, we have a situation where the government is totally responsible for what happened here. But they are going on as if it is 3 people on the boat. The reality is government brought it back. It forced people to work collectively and it's tragic. Therefore, there should be accountability. And the whole focus has to be on ensuring that there is accountability.
Apart from calling for government accountability, the parties were also calling for the government to address the issue of the chairmanship of the region. Attempted robbery and shooting reported in Providence on the east bank of Demerara. The Guyana police force was called out this morning to investigate an attempted robbery and shooting in the east bank Demerara community of Providence. According to reports, 3 men attempted to rob a home in the area but were chased off by a resident who was armed with a gun. 2 of the suspects were on a motorbike while the third was on foot. The armed resident pursued the suspects for roughly 2 streets before losing them. Several other residents were forced back into their yards as the chase unfolded. The 2 suspects on the motorbike eventually ditched the bike and fled on foot. When police arrived in the community, they were seen taking statements from residents. Some residents said this is the second such incident in the area. They reported that there was another attempted robbery in the community just the day before. This newscast reached out to the Guyana police force for a comment, but as at press time, no response had been received. We will return with more news.
Super 6 is the jackpot game with the biggest cash payout, and it's very simple and easy to play. With increased chances of winning, just pick any 6 numbers from 1 to 28, or buy a quick pick and you can be a jackpot winner. Get 6 numbers and you can win the jackpot. Match 5 numbers plus the bonus ball and be a winner. You're still a winner if you match 5 numbers, 4 numbers, or even 3 numbers plus the bonus ball. Get a free ticket if you match the letter. Drawing twice per week. You never want to miss your chance at being a jackpot winner. So, remember, a ticket a day can make you rich today.
Mom, Dad, this is Trevor.
Hi. He's no Kieran. Back up.
Fling? That's why he crossed the road.
It was funny when Kieran said it.
Oh, who could that be?
We're like the parents who don't miss your ex.
I can't believe Kieran is in the neighborhood.
CG United. Good like that.
Thanks for staying with us. Traffic fine scam warning. The Guyana police force has sounded the alarm on a fraudulent text message scheme targeting the public. The police force says scammers are sending fake texts claiming to be official traffic fine notices. The messages falsely warn recipients of outstanding fines and threaten legal action or court proceedings unless payment is made quickly. Victims are then directed to a fake website and asked to hand over personal and banking details. Police say these messages are not legitimate and did not come from the force. Authorities are urging citizens not to click suspicious links, not to enter financial information on unverified sites, and to only pay through the police force's official online portal, accessible via www.guyanapoliceforce.gy. Officials stress that all legitimate payments go through MMG or Bill Express, not any card-based system. Anyone who receives one of these messages is asked to delete it, report it to the police, and warn vulnerable family members who could be targeted. Investigators say they're working to track down those responsible, and they're asking for public cooperation as the probe continues. Model Communities consultations for Region 3. President Joe Finale held a series of community consultations in Region 3 on Monday as government launched what it's calling the Model Communities program. According to a government release, the president met with residents of Lenora, Tushin, Zeelat, Good Fortune, Parfait, La Harmonie, and Port-Join to discuss development plans, infrastructure, and economic proposals for their villages. Government says the initiative is a pilot that officials intend to expand nationwide. The program is structured around 4 areas government is calling connectivity, community, care, and commerce, covering roads, drainage, and utilities. Community facilities like parks and centers, support for small businesses and markets, and services aimed at vulnerable residents. Specific proposals were outlined for some of the villages visited. In Tushen, government presented plans for a community market and food court facility. In Zilat, officials announced a new market intended to boost vendor activity. And in Port Royal, government unveiled plans for a two-story market that would reorganize more than 140 existing stalls, with parking, washrooms, and space for a farmers market and food court. The president also said government projects roughly 30,000 new homes will be built between Wales and Lenora over the next 5 years. Government has framed the program as a partnership, saying residents, businesses, and local groups will also need to take responsibility for maintaining their communities alongside state investment in infrastructure and services. Officials say consultations will continue in other communities around the country this week. As with any government-led initiative to this. More news after this break.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing July 1, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE. GCOM has posted the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether you are listed and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you will be 18 years or older by June 30, 2026 and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. If you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE, you are required to apply for registration if your name is not in the PLE. Apply for a transfer if you have changed your address since you were registered. Apply for a name change if you have changed your name, or apply for a correction if your registration particulars are incorrect. Any person whose information on the PLE is incorrect can apply for such information to be changed or corrected. Any person applying for a change or correction to his or her particulars must provide the relevant original source document, birth certificate and deed poll for a name change by deed poll, birth certificate and marriage certificate for a name change by marriage. Divorce absolute in the case of a woman who is desirous of reverting to her maiden name from her married name, birth certificate, adoption certificate, naturalization certificate for correction of minor clerical errors. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. The claims aspect of this exercise will end on Tuesday, July 14, 2026. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back to Capital News. 3 Cuban nationals charged with murder. 3 Cuban nationals have been charged with murder and remanded to prison in connection with a killing at Diamond in the East Bank of Demerara. Police say Alejandro Rios, 26, a barber, Juan Perez, 29, a construction worker, and Marley Alvarez, a 24-year-old laborer, all of Temeria on the East Bank of Demerara, were jointly charged with murder contrary to common law. The three were arrested on July 29th and 30th in relation to the death of Yudivan Almagro, who was killed on the 22nd of July at Diamond. They appeared on Tuesday before Magistrate Delon Bess at the Diamond Grove Magistrates Court, where the indictable charge was read to them. They were not required to plead. The 3 men were all remanded to prison and the matter has been adjourned to September 22nd. And in the region, regionally, the Caribbean Media Corporation CMC reports that Jamaica is finalizing efforts to launch a 10-year agricultural development plan following extensive consultations with farmers, researchers, exporters, private sector stakeholders, and development partners. Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining Minister Floyd Green said the plan is expected to guide the sustainable growth of Jamaica's agricultural sector. We have been on the road. We spoke to our farmers, officials, researchers, exporters, private sector development partners. We've listened carefully to what they have said. We've brought in consultants to look at how do we craft a development plan for agriculture that will stand the test of time, Green told. an industrial and food show on Sunday. We are on the final leg and we expect to launch our 10-year agricultural development plan at the Caribbean Week of Aquaculture at the end of this month, and we think that's a big step in the right direction, he added. The 20th Caribbean Week of Agriculture will take place in Jamaica from September 27 to October 2nd this year and is regarded as the region's premier agricultural event that features seminars, statutory meetings of regional agricultural organizations and other key forums, including a special meeting of the Caribbean Community Council for Trade and Economic Development Quartet. It will be held under the theme, The New Phase of Caribbean Food Systems, which phase represents food security, agribusiness, climate-smart technologies, and export expansion. Green told the weekend event that while technological advancements do pose threats to certain jobs, food production will always require the human element. One of the messages that our youth must understand as the world advances, as we look at things like artificial intelligence, as we think about the jobs that are under threat, no matter what happens in this world, we'll have to eat. Even if you're writing the program for AI, you will have to eat. So AI will never replace our farmers and food production, he added. And that has brought us to the end of this edition of Capital News. On behalf of the news team, I'm Ivor Wharton, thanking you for staying with us, and do enjoy the rest of your evening.